Well, hello there. I pray your weekend has been refreshing. I know mine has. Just wanted to share with you briefly. I wanted so bad to come live, but got a lot going on and decided that probably the next few weeks, as I'm doing my Sunday night light, that I'll be doing it like this until I can get some more time to come live and visit with you personally. But I pray this bless you. You know, I was kind of trying to prepare to get back into what I said I was going to finish up, those different 7 traps regarding leadership and your vision and all of that. But I kept asking the Lord, is this, I feel like it's something that you want me to share right now that I just don't feel that that's what it is, that I need to, be talking about that. Well, at any rate, as I began to, pray and seek God most of the evening, I felt that I needed to talk about this. And this is one of the things that many of us are getting trapped about or being deceived for whatever motives that we have or whatever we're doing. We find ourselves getting out of the time or, God's timing or planning or season, whatever you want to call it, but we just simply can call it time. Because time really orchestrates everything for us. And if you're in God's time, then all is going to be well. Lord God knows I know about some bad timing that I have had. And don't know if I'm going to share any testaments about it, but, I do want to say this. You need to be doing a self-check on have you gotten out of time, or are you moving out of time right now? And especially if you are single and you're hearing this message, you definitely need to hear God through me tonight for your Sunday night light. I really want you to know that many times we have gotten out of time. Many of us are out of time in relationships. We're out of time in marriages. We're out of wrong timing. There's wrong timings for us in many things because we won't let God be God in our lives. And many times God just wants us to be still, sit down somewhere and listen, so he can guide us in the time or the season that we may be in so that we won't make a mistake. We won't do a shipwreck. We won't have these unpleasant trials that we have to face based on us getting out of time. And so I just love how God does things because he's going to treat us like putting us in like a sifter, because that means he's going to get all the impurities out, he's going to get everything out of the way, and that you're not going to go no further, just like it's things that are really too large to go through that sifter because it's such a fine little pieces, little holes for things to go through that need to come out. When they're larger, they're not coming out because they need to be refined to get out. Same thing. We're not going to be able to go through and get through those little places that are narrow without going through God's timing process for the refining, for what he wants us to get straight. So the time test, yes, this is something you to think about, your time test. So where are you? The purpose of the time test, we got to face it, is to give us what we need to understand, our opportunity to grow, for us to learn, for us to trust, and for us to believe God for provision. Hello, Sandy. To believe God for provision, and to look and see if there's any manipulation, coming from us on our end to try to get things to be the way we want to, or get the outcome to come and fit the way we want to fit, But many times this is, like I said before, the maturity is not there, and so, the refining can't come because you're still trying to go through narrow places without getting refined. Sunday, I want to preach. And so, anyway, the immaturity is the reason why we have to wait on time, the time test. And all of us want God to do what we want right now. And, just after we begin to get to this one place that looks like everything is going real, real good and everything looking good and, we're doing real well, with relationship, we're doing real well with our finances. Everything is, is picking up and everything is fine. And wham, bam, here come hell. Now something that happened now with a family member, something that happened with a child, something that happened in the marriage. Now your relationship is like it's going down. You thought you was going to get married. Now you done got sick in your body. Now you want a divorce. And, you found out they're cheating. And, just everything, lost your job. You thought everything was cool. Everything was looking real, real good. Now you're like, my God. Why? Because many of the things that we have really, really found ourselves getting in the midst of, we didn't spend the time to talk to God about the time. You know, many of the things that I've seen over the years with myself, and I think I've already told that testimony about going to Florida, so I ain't going to talk about that no more. But I have talked about a lot of different things in regards to time in my classes or, you know, recordings that I have done. But one of the greatest times, I believe, was Florida, because that was a biggie. And many of you today that listen to me, especially those that are single, you know, you're getting into situations, you get in relationships and things like that, that God is going to expose us. He's trying his best to get us to be quiet and sit down somewhere so that we can understand his timing, but we tend to want to go ahead of God. And so he's saying, no, not right now, my daughter. No, not right now, my son. But as soon as we look at, you know, something look just a little bit good, there we go dance and shout, and, you know, we doing tongues, and how to say, an hour with the tongues, and, you know, praising God and worshiping God, and we think we fast, and we doing all these things, and God is saying, you doing all that, it ain't time. Don't that just blow you away when he all of a sudden whisper to you and say, not now. After you did all that fasting, after you did all this stuff, and he's saying, not now. The Bible says in Psalms 27:14, wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. That word right there means a lot. Strengthen your heart. He says, wait, I say, on the Lord. And when he's trying to strengthen our heart, what he's trying to do is get those things that are in our hearts, whether it's our own motives, whether it's things that we want on our own, whether the things that we don't even like looking at or trying to wait on, you know, or they look like they're good, but yet it is slow, you know, or you know, it just seems like it's a no answer when things are so slow. It's like God must be saying no. But that doesn't necessarily mean that. Waiting has nothing to do with necessarily that it is no. It is to prepare. That's what that is. I talked about that a week ago. It is to prepare us. It is to get us to see. It is to get us to, it's like I'm trying to give you an instruction. That's what that means, strengthening, preparing your heart to give you instruction. This is why we need to pray. We need to watch. And that's why I say all the time, well, Lord, if I don't understand it, please show it to me in the night season while I'm asleep. Show me my dream, Daddy, whatever I'm not waiting on you about. And so remaining in this place, remaining in this particular circumstance that you're in right now, without further instruction, that means it's your time to wait. Lord, help us all. I'm in that kind of place right now. I have to wait. There's many people that I have to talk to about things the Lord has shown me, and I have to wait. And right now, I want to just cold bust and say, you know, that is so, you know what I want to say, spiritually stupid. You know, so you want to try to play that. But one of the things that I believe is that since God has matured me in that, I say it all the time. Oh, I know now. I know the way. Because God's timing is going to be perfect. But what we tend to do, we want to go ahead of God. And a lot of people have made these situations worse because they came up with their own plan to fix the problem. They came up with their own mindset, how they want to do it, how they want to go through it. And sometimes God will allow us to face these things a certain way to try to show us that you're going to wish you had waited. That's why this message is called that. Your time. That means is you need to take time to check and see, am I passing this test or am I trying to go ahead of God? Galatians 6:9 says, and let us not be weary in what? Well-doing. For in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And I love the way the Amplified Bible says it. It says this way, and let us not lose heart and grow weary and faint in acting nobly and doing right, for in due season time. At the appointed season, we will reap if we do not loosen and relax our courage and faint. See, but the purpose of this for your time is for us to give up what we want, give up what we think, and allow God to test us in this. God wants us to learn how to trust his time. You know, and many of us, if we think about this big old question mark that we have when we say, my God, what else are you trying to show me? You know, am I going to really, really wait on God? You know, this question mark that you know within yourself. Or if you're single, you may be saying, well, my God, life is passing me by. I'm 50, I'm 60, and I still don't have no husband. I still don't have no wife. You know, my God, what is going on here? But this time test is there for you to assess yourself, to see whether or not if you're going to try to make something happen in your own strength, or you're going to try to answer God when God is trying to give you an answer. You want to answer for God. Or are you going to just sit back and allow whatever you think is your due season to come right now? Lord, help us out. I know I'm talking to somebody. And so if you're single and you told God, let him come in a red suit, or let him have on blue shoes, or whatever that is, or just let him say this word, and I know that this must be my husband because he keep flirting with me, or she keep on, appearing, because she have on this blue or this pink dress. Come on now. We need to make sure that God is speaking to us. And it's a sad thing when we when we flunk this test, because what happens, we start grabbing anything. We done married somebody we thought was Mr. or Mrs. Right, and we already know is Mr. and Mrs. Wrong, and then we finally find ourselves waking up in the midst of situations, or find ourselves in the midst of a situation that God is saying, you want to do it your way. You want to keep on going and doing things your time. Instead of telling God, Lord, don't let me move, don't let me make no moves without you. God, please, I'm giving you permission to hinder everything, without you, I don't want to do nothing. Please, Lord. But see, we want to do that, but you can tell when time is getting ready to really, really burst wide open that you know that God is trying to show you something. Have you ever noticed that whenever you go somewhere and all of a sudden, or you're trying to get something done and you just waiting on God, you're waiting on God, or you're waiting on that thing, or you got something special that you need to happen. All of a sudden, something just started to happen. It's just show up real, real quick. And you're like, wow. That's because you have resolved that you are going to let God, be the orchestrator of your time, that you're not going to try to run time. But as soon as we get busy doing everything that we're trying to do to make something happen, my God, the devil always brings counterfeit. But we be so excited and look like I always say, like the duck. Yeah, it's quacking like the duck, and look like it's coming like it's supposed to be, but it's in the wrong time. And worst of all, it ain't the right kind. Lord, help us all. And so when I think about whenever I go to the doctor, and I really just dread going to my doctor a lot of times because she's so slow. And when I'm in there, I'll be like, Lord, let me take me some books. I can take me some notes. I can write a whole sermon. One time I taught a whole class waiting on her to call me into the room. Got in the room and still was able to teach a class, recording and everything, and she still hadn't come in the room after I got back there. And so what I've learned now to do is just to take me work there and look like here lately, because the Lord knows my patience is very thin, waiting. That's the reason why I'm talking about this right now, because I'm waiting on something. And I know that this is probably why the Lord wants me to talk to you. You're probably waiting on something. You're waiting on God to do something that is so big. You're waiting on God to do something that is just so serious. You're waiting on God to manifest something that you want right now. You want to understand right now. You want the job right now. You want the mate right now. You need the money right now. You need the healing right now. You just want it right now. I know I'm talking to somebody. And so while I'm there, I want to hurry up and get in there and get out right now. Because I'm like, my God, it don't take that long. And so what I've been doing is whenever I got an appointment with her, I take a good book that I've been wanting to read. Watch the devil. I take that book, I just get my legs crossed there, position myself, and say, oh, well, I know I'll be here a couple of hours. And so I start reading that book, and do you know, I don't even get to turn the page good. They go, Sandra Murphy. And I'll just bust out laugh and go, gotta do this one often. See, because what the devil don't like, I take the book, so I have already resolved that, Daddy God, whatever happened, I'm just here because I got an appointment, and this is the time. Well, the devil uses time to get us off. The devil uses time that we orchestrate to get us off, and we end up having to get things patchwork, try to put things together, because we're trying to take the time that God is trying to orchestrate for us, which is really a season in our lives that he's trying to shape us for. And many of us have taken that particular time that he's trying to show you that it's a new season, that you're going somewhere different, you're doing new things, and he's removing some people, he's refining you for some things. But we start telling God what to do. And so every time God is trying to show you that if you rush ahead of me, you're going to make things happen in your own time. You're going to have things going on in your life that is not from me. And before you know it, you're going to wish that you had determined or have recognized that I've got you in the time test. I know I'm talking to somebody. So you can't jump ahead of God. You just got to sit there, you got to listen, you got to pray, and you can't, this time is not one that just because you're waiting. Waiting is not just sitting there going, I'm just going to wait on God. Now, God's waiting on you too. Waiting on you to understand some things. Waiting on you to see where he's trying to take you in that season. Why? Because Ecclesiastes 3:1-8 tells us, to everything there is a season and a time. To every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up, that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, and a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, there it is, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to bring and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, there you go, the one we don't want to, and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, yeah, there is a time of war, yes indeed, and a time of peace, and no matter how much we try to manipulate the time, things make, I guess, us just want to do time on our own time. We don't want to wait. We just want it now. And so when we try to manipulate things to make this happen, this appointed season for our lives that God has promised us to manifest, we just can't rush things. We have to wait on God's anointed and sanctified time for a thing to happen. Now, let's talk a little bit about flunking the test. You don't want to flunk the test. You don't want to have to go back around the wilderness all over again like they did over in the wilderness while going around for 40 years. So dumb. Don't want to try to go and get your mate. You don't want to try to get less than God is trying to give you his best. So just wait on God. Tell yourself right now, repeat it after me. If it's not quite the way God wanted, I guess it's not quite right. Say it again. If it's not quite the way God wanted, then it's not right. So if you find yourself trying to manipulate the situation, like I said earlier on, you're going to find yourself every day talking to God, saying, God, when? When God is saying, when I get ready, when I finish sifting you, when I finish shaping you, when I finish getting you to understand. So it's always wise for us to wait on God. God says to us over and over again, and this is what I stand on this scripture all the time, according to Psalm 32:8. He says that I will instruct you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. So we got to wait until he is ready to give us the counsel, like I said before. Why? Because he knows it's hard. No one likes to wait. Nobody knows it's easy to just wait. But the answer to all of our questions, all the things that we think God is saying no about, waiting is getting you stronger. Waiting is equipping you for the test. Waiting is getting you to begin to move into faith, get into action about some things. Some of you may be listening to me that are waiting on God to show you a building or trying to get your church for wherever you're trying to go to the next dimension in your ministry. That's one of my dreams. I'm waiting on my building for our school. Some of you don't know what to do because you're just so tired of trying to do everything. But part of the reason is because you're trying to do it in your own strength. You believe that God is trying to show you something, but you can't be still to understand the circumstance around the wait. See, the problem is waiting when we want to move forward. And what is hard about it is because you want to move based on the thing that you think that you're being too still about. Some things you need to be still so you can understand the instructions. And then some things when you're thinking that it's just your voice that you're hearing, when actually you don't know the voice because you're too busy trying to see what's more comfortable for you. Some things he may be making uncomfortable so you can move by faith. I know I'm talking to somebody. And so this means action has to take place. This means quietness and stillness have to take place. That's why I say passing that test is not going to just be just sitting idle. You have got to get in the face of God and pray. You have got to watch. You got to expect. You got to be on purpose. You got to watch and wait for directions and listen attentively to his voice. So it's always very, very important for us to allow God to put us in the waiting mode. And right now I feel like my God, how much longer do I need to wait? You know, I mean, I'm 62, Daddy, going on 63. I'm not going on 64. I always say that, Lord, help, I can't even remember that. I guess because I'm so in a waiting mode, I forget the age. Because I'm just in expectation to see what is the suddenly coming. There is a suddenly for us. I want you to hear me clearly. There is a suddenly coming. This 2017, I can feel it so strongly. Every year we hear each other say this or that, but I've already seen God unfold some things this 2017 already, and we just here in the third month. But I'm telling you right now, between now and April, there's more explosions of suddenlies coming for those who obey God, love God, and don't have ulterior motives, and that has repented and really believe God for these things. So the first and foremost thing that you need to do, you need to look at, what am I doing to hinder God's process in my time test? You hear me? You ask God, is it wise for me just to wait and sit here when I really don't know what to do? You ask him. And if he said, that's all I want you to do because you've been doing too much, and tell him, I need to hear and know your sense of peace and calmness about my waiting. I want to pass the test, Daddy. I don't want to be late, and I do not want to flunk this test. And then you want to ask him, is it wise for me to just sit here and prepare for the answer based on maybe it's someone you're trying to see if this is who you're supposed to marry? Or maybe it's something that you're going through a divorce, or maybe it's being challenging to try to decide if you need to do a certain thing. Remember, everything you have got to wait on God. Do not go ahead of God. Just because it sounds good and look good don't mean it's God timely. I'm telling you right now. Sometimes God, he does these things, especially when it's concerning business deals or things we got to purchase. I mean, major things like that. That means he's telling you, you need to look at me and listen to me because I got to show you how to plan. I mean, I got to get your heart ready to understand some things that are not going to be in the natural. It's going to be supernatural. But see, wise people, they understand that. They're going to wait. They're not going to move fast. I never forget when I bought my first house, they kept on rushing me. And I tell them, no, man, don't call me no more. I am trying to talk to God about which way I'm going to go with this here, you know, because I was making a big old leap, you know, and putting down quite a bit of money, you know, and trying to make a move like that. And so even we as earthly parents, our daddy God has everything that concerns us, in his hand. Everything concerning sickness, disease, needs, family, whatever it is, marriage, preparing to be married even. He got all that in his hands. And he only wants us to be prepared to wait. He's telling us that he's going to strengthen our heart. That means he's going to strengthen our faith because our heart has to believe God. And so if your heart is not fixed on what God is saying, then you're going to believe the devil. So we might as well say, okay, God, okay, I've learned as much faith as I care to. Now, I want you to act right now. But he's going to say, no. I want you to sit right here, and I want you to be wise in what I'm trying to show you. I want to get your attention on these areas that are not good, that can't go where I'm taking you, and it's definitely not good what you're thinking. So I want to shift these motives out of the way. And I love that how he does that. Why? Because he wants to promote us. You don't want to be taking the test over to you. You don't want to be demoted. So if he can promote us without having us retake the test, then we're doing good, right? And so I want you to hear me out tonight. Think about this. What are some consequences that you might face if you go ahead of God right now? What if you think that what you're doing is right? Or you think the thing that you're doing is wrong and you really don't care because you're tired of waiting. But what happens is you start to get in disobedience and you start to go ahead of God. That's disobedience, and God is not going to be in that at all. So when we fail to wait, we only get out of God's will. You got to know that. God's desire, his plan is to bless us. And so if God is waiting, if waiting on God is so tiresome for you, and you feel like it's just too much and you want to go ahead on and wind things up, guess what? You will go ahead and be surprised to get exactly what you want. Quietly waiting before God saves us a whole lot of time, a whole lot of heartaches, if we would only allow God to give us this opportunity to see what he wants to do for us. And guess what? Okay, how urgent it may appear to you, God is showing you that that waiting is going to pay off. And so I want to share these with you, and I'm going to get out of here. One of the things that we tend to believe is that we need to do nothing, as I said earlier on. But if you're wise and you really care that God is trying to get you to pass the test, then you want to be active. Just because, you know, you're waiting on God doesn't mean that you can't move and be active in what he's trying to show you that he wants you to do. And you can only be active sitting at his feet. And remember what I told you, too, that you need to wait actively, but you need to also wait silently. Don't tell everybody what you're doing and where you're going. I call that silent warfare. You know, so you need to fast and pray, and don't share everything with everybody. Some things people want to know so they can try to see how they can derail you or talk it down or be negative. And the next thing you know, you speaking death over the very thing God is trying to bring to life for you. So we need to wait actively. We need to wait silently. We need to wait patiently. The Bible tells us in Psalm 37:7, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. So we must be willing to endure whatever it takes that he's trying to give us. But waiting patiently and resting in him is warfare. So actively wait, patiently wait, silently wait, and here's a good one. Stand on the word. Yes, indeed. Be courageous. Tell the devil no. Every time he try to show you something that it ain't going to work or send fear, tell him, no, I believe God. No. Because what? In the midst of fear, faith can pop in when you have the courage to tell hell no, that I believe God and not you, devil. So standing on the word, which means that I wait for the Lord. My soul waits, and his word do I hope, Psalms 135. So you want to also, with all of this, you want to expect, amen. You want to patiently, silently, actively, and you want to expect. This is the period when God begins to say, she got it now. She passed the test because she's expecting me. She's believing me. He's believing me. Yeah, I see that he's not going to go ahead of me. He's going to keep his flesh. She's going to keep her flesh. She's not going to try to, try it on for size. They're not going to try to see how it feels. They're going to wait on me. Yeah. She's not going to do that. She ain't going to backbite. She's not going to do these things. They're going to wait on me. They're not going to go ahead of me. They're going to be doing things manipulative. They're going to wait on me. So now he's told the devil, just like he told the devil with Job, you can do all you want, but you better not kill him. You can't kill him. So, yeah, that's what the devil tries. He tries to get us in everything. That's why I'm telling you, you have to pass this test. The time is the hardest part of it all. But during this time, guess what? He gives us clear direction. He gets us in step with who he is and what he wants. He prepares us for what he has in store for us. He strengthens our faith. And most importantly, he gets our attention while he's sifting out the motives for the things that we think we want and the time that we think that we should have them. And so I'm going to get off here and end with this. God has given us everything we need. And most importantly, he's given us sweet Jesus. And God makes a promise to us. And guess what? All we need to do is believe him and not the devil. So hope anticipates it, but patience quietly awaits for it. God bless you, and I pray that this Sunday night light help you. Now I lay me down to sleep. Come on, say that to me. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. And if I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul and your soul to take. God bless you. Please share this message because somebody might not be passing that test of their time. Talk to you soon.